Welcome if you're just joining us. We're just going to wait a few minutes while everybody manages to come in from the waiting room into our meeting. Just waiting a few minutes to make sure that everybody can get into the event. Just a reminder, if you've joined us before, or if you haven't, there's a Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. If you have any questions or anything you want to raise, do please pop that into the Q&A box at the bottom. Just give another few seconds for people to come in to the meeting. A few people still joining. It's just 2 o'clock. Okay, let's get started then. So welcome everybody to our third members event during Fair Trade Fortnight. Today we're going to visit our West African region, which we opened our West African office in Accra in Ghana in 2012. It was the last of our regional offices that we opened. And we're going to be joined today by Divine, who is our lending manager in West Africa, and hopefully Etienne, whose internet connection isn't very stable at the moment, from Upper. So I'm sure you're going to look forward to hearing from our team in West Africa. Lots of opportunity to ask questions. As I said, please use the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen to pop in any questions that you have. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Divine.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Patricia. I'm excited to present to you on behalf of West Africa on this all-important subject during this member event. With me to support in this regard, I have my 2 colleagues, Grace Akuba Kuonu. Grace is our customer representative in charge of West Africa. I also have Mr. Kwame Dekonu, and Kwame is our lending manager also in charge. Kwame is our lending representative also in charge of West Africa. Now, a look at the outline of our presentation for today. I shall briefly review our portfolio as we have it currently in West Africa, and then continued with climate change. What is climate change? Impact of climate change on our operations in the region and the environment, as well as mitigation measures being implemented by various stakeholders to combat climate change and its impact on our operations in the region. Now, currently, shared interest in West Africa has committed 10.8 million GBP in support of agribusiness and trading activities in the region. Of this amount, 77% goes to support the cocoa value chain. It is worth to note that the cocoa value chain in West Africa impacts a lot of livelihoods, millions of livelihoods and smallholder farmers. The cocoa value chain is one of the value chain that is relatively supported and also regulated in terms of pricing mechanisms by various governments in the region. We also support other commodities like fruits and vegetables and nuts in order to diversify our commodity portfolio. Now, what are the facility types we support in the region? The dominant facility type is the export credit. This export credit goes to support our customers who may have signed export contracts with their buyers and are in need of credit facilities to execute this contract. We also have the stock facility, which helps our customers to pay for produce sourced from producers and producer organizations on the field. Our term loans support customers who are in need of long-term financing to purchase fixed assets, such as construction of warehouses, as well as procurement of vehicles and trucks. Now, what is climate? It is said that climate is weather conditions prevailing in an area over a longer period of time. And climate change refers to shift in these weather conditions in an area over a longer period of time. Climate change differs from one locality to the other and one region to the other. Climate change affects livelihoods. It affects water and food security. It also affects even gender. Of the prevailing climatic conditions we have in the region, the tropical climate is the dominant one in West Africa, with temperatures ranging between 25 to 32 degrees Celsius with humid conditions. We have 2 rainy seasons moving towards the southern part of the region and 1 rainy season moving towards the northern part of the region, which support food production activities. December to March is when we experience dry weather conditions in what is known as the Harmattan. It is accompanied by strong and dusty winds with rampant bushfire activities. But it is also a period that supports a lot of flowering activities on the field in terms of tree crops. Now, causes of climate change. Of the major causes of climate change in the region, human activities constitute the dominant cause. In Ghana and other West African countries, we have large numbers of unemployed youth engaged in illegal gold mining activities in what is known as Galamsey. A lot of governmental efforts to combat this has yielded very little result so far. These activities pollute water bodies, destroys the environment, food crops, as well as cocoa plantations. We also have exhaust fumes from vehicular activities. We know that this produces carbon dioxide, which depletes the ozone layer. It causes acid rains and other environmental hazards. Now let's look at some general statistics in the region. It is reported that over 20 acres of cocoa farms are destroyed weekly due to illegal gold exploration activities. Bomat Farms, one of our customers located in Ghana, recorded a loss of 20 metric tons of mango due to bad weather conditions. Another customer, Sokan in Ivory Coast, recorded very low income as a result of poor yields and poor quality fruits when they sold their produce below the guaranteed market price. We have uneven rainfall patterns affecting a lot of production systems in the region, especially the Sahelian part of the region. It is noted and reported that Ghana may be forced to import even drinking water if nothing is done to combat illegal gold mining activities by 2030. Now, what is shared interest as an organization? What are we doing about this phenomenon? In our partner selection efforts, we try to work with customers that respect the environment. We mostly work with customers that are fair trade certified, customers who believe in the 10 principles of fair trade and protect the environment. We also work with customers that are UTZ or Rainforest Alliance certified. We believe that these certification schemes promote sustainable farming initiatives that we also believed in. The Shared Interest Foundation, our foundation, for example, in Ivory Coast, is supporting a lot of initiatives in what is known as youth in cocoa farming in Ivory Coast, where the youths are supported to establish model farms and practice climate smart agriculture. It serves as a motivation for other youth to engage in cocoa farming, sustainable cocoa production. We also have the distribution of over 60,000 drought, pest, and disease-resistant cocoa seedlings that are distributed to our farmers in the region. This goes to rejuvenate old cocoa trees and old cocoa farms in order to increase the productivity in the region. Now, our partner cooperatives are also implementing various initiatives in the region to combat climate change. One of such is the movement towards organic farming, where organic fertilizers such as manure and compost are used instead of inorganic fertilizers. Bioinsecticides are used to control pests and diseases on their fields. We have a lot of efforts and initiatives geared towards afforestation activities by our partner cooperatives, whilst a lot of campaigns and training and sensitization program towards bush burning as well as illegal gold mining activities are ongoing on the field. As can be seen, one of our partner cooperatives, Green Agrinova, planted border trees to protect their crops from strong and harsh weather conditions. If not, the strong and harsh weather conditions might cause destruction to their crops on the field. We also have some of our cocoa fields adopting integrated cropping systems, where cocoa farms are intercropped with other shade trees and food crops in order to supplement the family's income. Others are adopting good agricultural practices, such as pruning of the cocoa trees in order to prevent pest and disease incidents on the farm. As indicated, our foundation supported the distribution of huge numbers of shade trees as an initiative to combat the deforestation of the environment and our forests in the region. Farmers are taught on how to plant and take care of these plants. Thank you. And at this time, I would want to hand over to Mr. Duman Etienne Christian. He is the director of Uprumabio. Uprumabio is one of our customer cooperatives we are working with. They are located in Burkina Faso, and he is going to take us through effort and initiatives being implemented by Ipromabio to combat climate change and its impact on their operations. Unfortunately, network issue did not allow Mr. Etienne to join us live here, but we have a recorded version of his presentation that is going to be shared with you pretty soon. Thank you.
Director of Ipromabio. I'm happy to present today impact of climate change on Ipromabio. Ipromabio is a cooperative company with 4 groups. These 4 groups, we have 43 small mangoes farmer, all men, and 56 new small dry hibiscus flower farmer, all women. All this production is organic and fair trade. Board director and technical assistants. The board director, we have the president, the vice president, the treasurer, and the technical assistant, we have the director is me, Etienne Joma, the financial manager, and the agricultural technician. For the transformation, we have a drying unit. This drying unit, we have 65 workers. In this 65 workers, we have 50 women and 10 men. For exporting, we have the SCCP, Fair Trade Organic Dried Mango, Organic and Fair Trade Dried Hibiscus Flower, Organic Mangoes Puri. For export, we have buyer. We have 4 buyers in Europe whom we met in 2019 at BioFact in Germany to strengthen business ties and meet new buyers. We have reached one new buyer, Winam Koro, who ordered the dry mango last year with us. Some great achievement with the Fair Trade Premium. We have first the construction of 1 drying unit in 2018, construction of 3 class schools from 27 to 2019, the maintenance of school orchards, and establishment of mango tree. Export and turnover from for export and turnover, we have export of dry mango, dry hibiscus flower, mango puree from 2015 to 2021. The turnover for 2050 to 2021. The collaboration began with charity centers in 29 with a loan of 50,000 euro and 100,000 euro in 2020 to 2021. Without this loan, we will only have made of 50% of order from 2019 to 2021. Impact of climate change and phenomena. For mango, we have the intense parasitic attack, flower dryer by heat or torn by storm winds, insufficient of poorly distributed rain give less large immature fruit, early harvest, dry mango with immature mangoes, and earth-borne mangoes. From hibiscus, we have the insufficient of poorly distributed rain, less cold, early or late harvest with 200 per kilogram per hectare instead of 400 in half. Impact of activity of Ipromabio. We have the reduction in production yield and processing capacity by 57% for mango and 50 order in 2021, 23 ton produce on order on 30 ton, an average capacity for 25 ton. The risk of not being able to fulfill an order, the risk of losing customer. Mitigation measure implemented. We have the establishment of school orchard with a drip irrigation system, training in setting up basin for water retention, mango tree origination, pruning training in the use of mango spelling to make organs meaty, using 6 apart to control fruit fly. 6 apart is the organic product spray in orchard. It is attract of male fly to kill them and thus prevent reproduction. Installation of forced ventilation in dryer to reduce loss after drying from 5% to 1%. Forecast for the next 5 years. Mangoes improve the productivity of existing orchards and encourage the planting of more modern orchards, taking into account the experience secured in current training and monitoring. For hibiscus, encouraging the cultural practice that into account difficult climatic conditions, encourage our processing capacity to 50 ton per year for dry mango with modern dry with drying capacity, and 10 ton of mango puree organic fair trade SCCP without subcontracting in order to cope with the improvement in productivity mentioned above. Diversify of our markets by focusing on the national and sub-regional markets, Lomé, Cotonou, Accra, Abidjan. Thank you for your
Thank you, Etienne. If I could just invite Divine, Kwame, and Grace to put your cameras back on and to join me. Thank you, Divine, for your presentation. If I could just remind our attendees that there's a Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, so we'd really appreciate you putting in some questions for our panelists here to answer. I'm sorry that we haven't got Etienne with us, but unfortunately the internet connection has failed us. I just wanted to clarify something Divine said in his presentation, because it came across that we actually lend directly to Rainforest Alliance organisations, and we don't at this point in time. We lend to fair trade certified organisations. However, there are many that also have Rainforest Alliance certification within our portfolio. So I think that's what Divine was trying to convey. But I know there are mixed views about Rainforest Alliance amongst our members. So just wanted to clarify that. I'm not sure that our colleagues can really answer some of the questions because they're very much directed at Etienne. But I wonder if any of our colleagues in West Africa could say why, or say a bit more about the rainwater harvesting and storage and why that's important for the farmers. Divine, would you be able to say more about that? Or
yes, as I've mentioned earlier on, Burkina Faso being located in the northern part of the region experiences just one rainy season per annum, and the moisture from this rainy season is supposed to support productive activities throughout the year. So rain harvesting initiatives such as construction of mini dams to harvest the rainwater during the rainy season, such as digging of mini boreholes, such as practices that conserve moisture around the zone region of the mango trees or any other crop, is something that is essential to combat the impact of drought in the region and in that part of the region. Thank you.
Thank you, Divine. The next question is about the hibiscus flowers, and the question is, what are they used for? So who would like to answer that question on the hibiscus flowers?
Okay, with the hibiscus, this Grace, with the hibiscus, it's used for tea and also used for like beverage drinks as well. But mostly the consumption is for tea.
Thank you, Grace. And so maybe somebody can answer the question of what's quite unusual about the organization that we heard from, Bio, is that they have two products. One is mango and one is hibiscus. And all of the farmers in the mango part of the business are male, and all of the farmers in the hibiscus part of the business are female. And so I think this is due to some sort of land ownership in Africa. But Kwame, you've unmuted, so I'm guessing you're going to take this question.
Yes, thank you, Patricia. I think you rightly said it, that it's due to land issue, because in Burkina Faso, land is owned by men, not by women. And as we all know, that mango is of a long-term project, and hibiscus is a short-term project. And again, mango is capital intensive because the maintenance of mango requires a lot of finances, whilst hibiscus is of a low capital requirement. So Bio has made it a strategy to make sure that women invest in the less capital intensive projects, whilst men take care of the mango part, which is more capital intensive and require a lot of work. Because as you saw in the Bio's projection, that mango is really affected by the weather, where during harvest they can't get the right quantity and quality that they want. So it's advisable for the women to invest in this hibiscus project. That's the objective. Thank you.
Thank you, Kwame. So Divine, this is a question for you. So how many years has there been research and development for the more resistant plants that have been discussed today? Is this a result of many years of work? And was it actually carried out in Africa, or has it been carried out abroad by, say, a university and then imported into Africa?
Thanks, Patricia. These initiatives of developing pests and disease as well as drought resistant varieties are in response to the challenge we're experiencing now, and is a sort of partnership. The cooperative may not have the capacity to develop this by themselves, but we have partnerships between the producer organizations and the research stations, as well as the universities. Most of the university researchers are also involved in one sort of research or the other with the research stations. And mostly the development takes quite some time, more than 5, 7, 10 years, depending on the traits that they may want to incorporate into the new varieties. And once the development is over, it is tested on the field, and then the one that performs best is selected and validated for onward distribution to the producer organizations. Thanks.
Thank you. So obviously we have a lot of cocoa in West Africa. So this question is about whether or not we intend to diversify away from cocoa, or whether we intend to actually lend more into that product. So Divine, maybe you want to take that one.
Yes, as an initiative to diversify our portfolio, we are looking at other commodities that can be supported. But at the same time, we are taking into account the fact that most of the other commodities are not very much regulated in terms of pricing mechanisms or governmental support. When it is not, the value chain is not well regulated, it increases our risk of lending to those commodity value chains. So as much as we want to diversify our portfolio, we are also thinking about the risk and the investments that various stakeholders are making to develop those other value chains. In the short to medium term, majority of the support will continue to go to the cocoa sector, whilst we work gradually towards supporting the other commodities. I don't know if Kwame, you have, or Grace, you have something to add on this.
Right, as you rightly said, the cocoa supply chain is the main, it's a major crop in our portfolio at the moment. However, we have seen improvement in some area like the soybeans, the cashew, the banana and citrus industry, which has gaining interest from the various stakeholders, especially the government. So as you can see in our portfolio, we have started lending to the crops like soybeans, and we already have some producers on our pipeline that when they satisfy our condition, will be advancing some finances to which will end up gradually diversifying our portfolio. Thank you.
Grace, have you got anything to add?
Yeah, as they've mentioned, the fruit industry, especially with the mangoes and other dried fruits, are also gaining grounds on the international market, and most of them are the producers are trying to certify onto fair trade to be able to have access to fair trade pricing. So that is getting interesting because they are buying into the cooperative system to be able to get into the fair trade market. So we believe that as they form the governance structures for those cooperative or institutions, we'll be able to lend more on that aspect so that our portfolio will be more organized and diversified. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. And of course, you know, we fair trade is at the heart of what Shared Interest does. And the fact that we are so heavily lent in both coffee worldwide and cocoa is because that the mix of producers within the fair trade system very much represents our portfolio. So whilst we would like to diversify and spread the risk across, we are very representative of the portfolio of fair trade internationals, producer groups as well. So the next question is, some of the mitigation practices that were mentioned for hibiscus and mango seemed like good practices, but just for improving production generally, rather than specifically related to climate change. So do we think that they are things that were being done anyway because they're good practices, or whether they've started to do them specifically for climate change? Divine, that question was for you.
Thanks, Patricia. Farmers in the northern part of the region over the years have adopted by themselves, various mechanisms to mitigate the impacts of climate change in the region. Some of these include non-burning of debris, where the debris are used to mulch around the crops to conserve moisture. And the use of organic manure, etc., tries to bind the soils together and retain more moisture. All this will yield to higher productivity, be it for mangoes or for the hibiscus. So yes, they are in response to climate change, but they are also interrelated in a way.
So this one is more a general one about fair trade certification, which obviously is at the heart of the business of shared interest. But the question is, do we perceive, or do we hear from producer groups that we contact in your region that the cost of fair trade certification is a barrier to cooperatives joining the fair trade movement? Kwame, maybe you want to start, and then the others can respond from the organizations that they've been speaking to.
Thank you, Patricia. Yes, we receive such comment. But however, those who are already on the certification rather appreciate the service or the benefit they gain from being part of fair trade. For instance, as you can see from Yupumabil's presentation, they've lined up some of the initiatives that the fair trade premium have helped them to achieve. So on that ground, those who are on fair trade certification really appreciate it. Yes, I received, for instance, after a program, I received a customer, a Ghanaian producer, who requested for finances, and I put before him the conditions that you need to be A, B, C, D. And he came back, yes, I have A, B, C, D, but I'm not fair trade certified. So I said, okay, it's not a problem. We can help you attain this. And that's how we do it. We don't say you are not a fair trade certified, or you cannot pay for or achieve that. So therefore we can help you. We have internal mechanism through which we can help you secure a facility from shared interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Kwame. Grace?
Okay, so the producers I have in contact with make it a priority to make allocations for their fair trade premium because of the benefits they know they get from it. So it's those who are not in good standing or who are trying to join or form a cooperative, even though they know the benefits of it, they make the efforts to look for the funding to get the fair pricing, because it's better they get the fair trade rather than they go on conventional sales. So most of the producers try their best to get the certification because that is the ultimate, because they know the benefits of the fair trade and the impact on their members. So looking at the cost in registration, the cost analysis shows that the benefit is far greater than the service fee they will provide at the initial beginning. So they all like it, so they all strive for it. So it's not an issue at the moment.
Thank you, Grace. Divine, did you want to add anything?
Not much, but to say, like Grace indicated, that the benefit outweighs the cost. Let's not forget that the fair trade ensures a minimum guarantee price for their produce. It also requires buyers to sign a contract with the producer organizations, thereby protecting each party. They only have challenge when after the certification, they are not, or they are unable to secure a fair trade contract for their produce. So you realize that most organizations just after certification goes around in search of fair trade markets where they can be able to sign the fair trade contract and thereby be able to earn premium that will support other development activities.
Thank you. So there's just one final question before we bring this to a close. This is for you, Divine. It said that you mentioned that climate change has an effect on gender, amongst other things. Can you explain what that means?
Thanks, Patricia. First of all, we know that the vulnerable group among our society are the youth and the women. Now, if you do role mapping or value chain mapping, you realize that women tend to perform a lot of activities right from when they wake up, taking care of domestic activities as well as the farm activities. Mostly when we have drought conditions, women will now have to walk longer distances to be able to fetch water, to come and prepare food, as well as even to fetch water to water some of the plants and vegetables in their gardens. So climatic conditions or changing in climate impacts negatively on gender. And if we do, like I indicated, value chain or gender mapping of the various value chains, we realize the role that women plays and the effect of climate change on this role. Thank you.
Thank you, Divine. And thank you to my colleagues from West Africa for joining us today. Thank you for all of you coming to hear our presentations from West Africa. We're sorry Etienne hasn't been able to join us. He has made several attempts to come in, and so I'm sorry he wasn't able to answer questions. We are having a Central American event tomorrow, and on Monday we're going to South America. So it would be great if you could join us again then. But for the time being, we'll say bye for now.
Yes.